Welcome back to Byte-Size Magic. My name is Snack, and today we're going to be sitting down with DJLynx and Wayne of Boros, two phenomenal people in the CEDH space who are all about making this game more accessible and helping new people get in. This is going to be a probably 3 to 5 part series where we talk about Magic, ranging from beginner all the way to expert, and what it looks like to kind of understand the game from these different levels. Today, we're doing level 1. It's going to be an overview of terminology and really just a place to get a foothold into how to get into this game. Real quick, I want to talk about some events that myself and the rest of the Byte-Size team are going to be attending in the next few months. The first is going to be the Best in the West Platinum Qualifier 4K. This is going to happen in San Diego on February 21st, and is going to be a platinum event hosted at TC's Rockets. If you're in or near California and you want to get some points for this invitational that we'll be throwing at the end of the year, as well as some points for Top Deck, come down, come play this platinum event. This is going to be a total blast. Alex Stockwell has been putting it on, is going to be TOing, and he's got a really amazing group of people at Rockets that are going to help us make this event the best it can be. We also have a prize from the Croach. The first 100 people who register, we're going to be auctioning off a foil signed and altered Malcolm with a really sick lightsaber. So make sure to register, be one of those first 100 people, and get a chance to get that card. Next, we have the Atrium. This is going to be on March 28th and 29th, presented by Lost Levels and BFF CEDH. Y'all know BFF well. Wayne, who's part of Byte-Size, is running BFF alongside Ben. So this is another great California Platinum event. We just got event after event in California. It's so exciting. So if you're in or near the area, come on down to the Atrium. It's going to be great competition. The venue's beautiful. There's a ton of food right nearby. The restrooms are amazing. Everything about an event that you could want is there. And I gotta say, there's no other TO that I would rather be in charge of an event than Wayne and Ben. So come on down March 28th and 29th if you're free. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. All right, welcome back to Byte-Size Magic. I'm Zach, and today I have two amazing guests with me. I have DJLynx and Wayne of Boros. You guys want to say hi and just let people know who you are and what you do in the scene?
So my name is DJLynx. I am one of the TOs, or tournament organizers for New Jersey CDH. We also have ourselves a Discord as well too. And if there's any information you want to be able to find us at, it's at newjerseycdh.com. We pretty much help host events all across New Jersey. And the goal is pretty much to be able to not only help highlight the New Jersey competitive scene, we also want to be able to a lot as far as just growing the community as a whole. We just recently actually ran our very first platinum event, the New Jersey Solstice, that had 100 players. It was exciting. It was great. And it really speaks to the growth that New Jersey has. And we just really want to be able to continue that the momentum. So needless to say,
congrats.
Thank you. The goal is to be able to grow the community, have more and more players involved, and pretty much, doing more to be able to help grow as a whole. So I'm excited about that aspect. I'm very much excited about that aspect. So yeah. And also, if you want to catch me, DJ_Lynx_MTG on all socials, in case you want to be able to contact me about anything. And
Yeah, we'll have everything linked below too.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Wayne. You know who it is. Yeah, relevant information for like this episode kind of thing. I am part of BFF CEDH initiative, kind of following Lynx's footsteps here in the LA area sort of thing. We have our LA CEDH Discord and just community organizing. We are about to work on trying to get our way to holding our first plat. So we're right behind you on this one, DJ. It's coming up in March. So I'm coming up for that one.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that one for you guys. Definitely excited for you guys on that one.
Yeah, it is really cool to see the growth though. It is like really crazy. We have a gold coming up on Saturday, and it was one of those things where the shop owner was like, "Hey, can we do a bigger one?" And we're like, "We'll try." And it just
why not?
Why not? Why not? People will come out. If there's one thing that I've learned is that if you make it, they will come. Players very much want and crave larger events. They want places where they're able to compete with more players, and more than anything, they want to see the growth, because it's not enough for them to want to be able to just play amongst their friends. No, they want to compete for large prizes. They want to compete for the fact that they can say, hey, I made top 16 at this large of event. And they want something as a way to be able to measure their growth. I know for one of my players, he's been playing crick, for example, and he's been playing crick at all of my events. He recently made top 16, and when I tell you, he was elated and excited because he had made top 16 on Crick. Just seeing his progression from where he was when he first started playing to where he is now is, I'm not gonna hold you. Like I was like, yo, you got there, bro. Like it was amazing to see. Honestly, it was amazing to see.
That's awesome.
That's what it's about.
And I honestly don't think I could have any two better people with me today to really cover the concept that we're covering, which we'll get into right now. And this is how to get into Magic, 0 to 100. We're going to start at the very beginning, really talking about the frameworks and philosophies that make up the game, how we think about it, and how you can sort of get a foot in the door, because it is such a massive game, and it's such a complicated game. And then we're going to go all the way to the end. How do you become the best in the world? How do you, become an expert at this game? What does it take? What does that journey look like? So this is going to be a multi-part series. I'm super excited to jump in, and we're kind of going to just get started. Maybe the first thing I could ask you two is, in as concise a way as you could, how would you describe Magic the Gathering? Let's say that I am someone you know, and I know that you like Magic, and I'm like, what is Magic the Gathering?
Well, 0 to 100, there's a mechanic called start your engines. And no, I'm joking. That's exactly how you don't do it. Exactly how you don't do it. Go ahead, DJ. Go. You go first, man.
If I want, realistically, it is, if I have to go give a point of reference, it is a enhanced version of Uno, as weird as it sounds. And the reason being is because and the reason being is that with Uno, there are cards that allow you to do game actions. There are ones that allow you to be able to skip, force somebody to draw, reverse the game. And being able to have more actions available to you, to have more influence and more agency in the game is a part that I know a lot of people love. And that's something that Magic really, really gives you that feeling. It allows you to really be able to take advantage of your agency in a means of a game where you're slinging spells. You're able to go as small as like using your fists to then going as high as using a bazooka. And it is because like when you really think about like what things you're able to do and how you have to be able to set it up, it's somebody had explained it to me in that way, and I thought it was a really great analogy. So
it is.
Magic in itself truly allows you to be able to play 3D chess, but also being able to just do more than 3D chess. And it's a great game. It allows you to really take advantage of just doing so much in so little time and really be able to just have that magic, as they call it, feel like every single time you're doing something. So
that's sweet. Love it.
I like to think of Magic as like rice. In the sense that, like, you can have all sorts of different flavors on top of it, and it's just kind of like a starchy carrying thing for different flavors that you want. You can have ketchup, you can have Chinese food, you can have, like, all these other different flavors. Like, even just, like, us mostly as CEDH players, there's entire, like, swaths of Magics that we don't even touch, like cosplay, like, all these things, the lore. I'm a huge fan of the lore. I like to go into that, and, like,
me too.
Yeah. So, like, there's all these, like, extra, like, spices and flavors that you can put it, but, like, the base part of Magic is the game and the community, and, like, that is, like, the pure, beautiful, sticky, very washed rice of a game system that, like, can deliver, like, screw it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to you, well, next to, like, Chandra, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, like, how I look at it a lot of times.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love both those definitions. Neither of them have I ever heard before, so it's good to add this to the repertoire of things that my family asked me, what the heck do you spend all this time doing? But I really...
Mostly.
Yeah. I view Magic, ultimately, for me, as the best social game in the world, and that's why I love to play. If we didn't have Commander, if it was 60 card, I don't know if I would be as into it as I am into Commander and CEDH. And that's really because this opportunity affords me the opportunity to play a game with my friends and have conversations and create real community while doing something we all love to do.
Yes.
And it's rare to have that in any kind of game, especially something that is, so nerdy and like something we can all connect on this kind of level. So Magic for me is a community builder, and it's a way to relate to people and have deep conversations, have fun, and really, play something that we all love. So yeah, that's what Magic is to me. Out of curiosity, why did you guys want to start playing Magic, and why do you think that's an important question to answer when someone is getting into the game?
man.
Oh man.
No,
we all just went like nostalgia.
No, actually, for me, I started playing Magic because back in college, I had some individuals introduce me to the game, and the way that they were able to sequence, and this is of course before Commander existed. This is when in fact, I've been playing Magic since the original lore when I started in Shadowmoor. So this is when they were calling it Type 1, Type 1.5, and Type 2. So I've been playing Magic for a while. For me, the appeal was being able to play a game, being able to outwit and outbeat your opponent. Being able to know that you're able to best them or they were able to best you, all through the game of strategy. At the time, years ago, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to play Digimon. I played those card games and even a bit of Pokemon back in the day. So Magic, I thought, was one of the purest forms of that because the system was balanced. The way that it spoke to me in such a way where I was able to just do something through the lens of self-expression while also being able to win at the same time was too intoxicating. I could never let it go. I really could never let it go. I really couldn't. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing for me.
It was really random chance. I got a pack that contained a Leonin Dengard and a Leonin Scimitar and a Loxodon Warhammer and fell in love with those cards. And it's just kind of spilled out from there. It's crazy. I don't know. It's an insane thing. And you go pauses. Sometimes you pause and you come back and you pause and you come back. And a lot of times relationships have kind of brought me back because it's just a great way to when you connect with someone, you get into nerdy stuff together. It's oh yeah, that's right, Magic. I used to play Magic. Let's play some games. And then here we are 2 to 3 years later. Anyways, but yeah, really just following the fun. That's kind of where I came down to it. It's just oh, it's fun to do this. Oh, it's fun to play these things. Oh, it's fun to win. Oh, okay. How do I do all those things at the same time? And then that takes you where it takes you.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about this sort of motivation is so important to kind of maybe, I don't know if it's completely I need to know exactly why I'm playing Magic, but how does that guide the journey, and why is it important to know why you need to, or why you're trying to play and learn this game?
Well, the important thing for that is that it'll be self-sustaining, and especially if you are trying to get other having friends that are showing interest to get into Magic. Understanding what about it intrinsically, what about them intrinsically will drive them to play the game is super, super important. And same thing when you're getting into it. Are you really interested in complex mechanics? Are you interested in competition? Are you interested in lore? Are you interested in art? What, are you just really into, elves? Here's a Marwyn deck, people will sit through 20 really, really bad Commander games if they get to feel oh, but I get to pick my main character. And then some people are no, this is stupid. 60 card is way more interesting, or draft is way more interesting. So just understanding what makes a person tick and what makes a person interested in the first place, and then you can be here's a bunch of cards, and then the next time you see them a week later, they'll be asking you questions and into it, so that's better than just here, have a deck, and they have no concept, and they don't even like goblins, and why am I playing red, it's a whole thing.
No, and to add on to the point, the sustainability is important because at the end of the day, someone wants to, if you need to be able to find, or at least be able to zone in on what brings them joy through the concept of the game. You truly need to be able to understand when someone is doing something like this or getting into Magic. Sometimes, for certain people, it's because of the fact that they want to come in and they want to beat their boyfriend, or for a girl. No, for real, seriously, they want to beat their boyfriend. Yeah. That's actually one of my exes. For her, she wanted to beat me at the game. So that's the reason why she started playing Magic.
Nice.
Another reason, and other reasons could be that they see that that they're looking for a place for a community, or looking for individuals who they're able to go connect with. And they see that these group of individuals are constantly having fun or having joy and enjoy and having themselves a really great time. Being able to really zero in is important because at the end of the day, a person is only as invested in something if they're able to connect with it. And that is the main reason why being able to identify that and finding the healthiest form or outlet that allows for them to be able to engage with it is important. And that's why I don't want to make it sound like it's this complicated thing or another. It's just being able to find the healthiest way as for why a person would want to play the game is what makes it that much better for someone else. Because I think it is important that you find a reason and help that person to be able to zero in on that reason and let that be their guiding light. So,
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more, actually. Like, a lot of times I've gotten, the privilege to do coaching with Magic, and it's been so much fun. And a lot of times people are like, I just can't find my perfect deck. Like, no matter what I do, I can't find, like, the unicorn deck, And I, for a long time, thought, like, I can't either. Like, I don't know why. And then ultimately, I realized it's not so much about finding the deck that's perfect for you. It's about figuring out how you enjoy playing.
Yes.
And really getting into that more and more and more. And then the perfect deck just comes. It's like the icing on the cake, and it's, happens naturally.
Yes.
A perfect deck's the one that you're excited to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What am I having the most fun doing? Am I enjoying mid-range? Am I enjoying turbo? Like, where do I really want to make my mark? But
yeah.
We have a Discord and a Patreon. So if you're looking to support Byte-Size and really help us grow into the best CEDH channel on YouTube, we could use all the help we can get. Come join the Patreon and support us at whatever tier you are able to. And if you want, come join the Discord for free. We chat about Magic, we talk about the recent episodes, and we even do play days. So once a month, we'll have a whole day dedicated to playing with our patrons, and we'll just be able to get some games in. So if you want to influence the direction of Byte-Size Magic and really tell us where you want us to go, the best way to do that is by becoming a patron, joining the Discord, and being a part of that conversation.
As a side note here, this series is not so much going to be a rule book. Like, it's not going to be like, here, we're going to teach you exactly how to play the game, but it's meant to be just giving you resources so that you can continue investigations on your own. And this can help spark interest and sort of be a guiding, like a map, sort of, where you're like, oh, I'm curious about this. Let's see how I can navigate this. And we want to make this as digestible and easy to kind of learn as you can. So another question. We're talking about Magic, and there might be some expectations, like, for example, if you got into basketball and you're like, how long is it going to take me to beat LeBron James? Probably forever,
Yeah.
Magic or CDH or whatever you want to get into. What is the timeline for someone to go from I know nothing at all to I feel competent in this game, I'm ready to play? Like, if people are going to invest their time in this, what can we give them as sort of an idea of how that journey is going to look like, what they can expect from it to go from 0 to even 50 or 0 to 100?
I normally tell players that the game is constantly evolving and changing, and don't place that heavy expectation on yourself. At the end of the day, you want to... Competent is relative, because competent is only relative in the sense where if you feel comfortable and good and knowing how to play, then you're competent. It doesn't matter about trying to be able to, having to go like, oh, well, I have to do this or I have to do that. Just enjoy having fun. That is one of the biggest things that I tell everyone, because the more you're having fun, the better the experience is going to feel like, and you're going to find yourself taking the correct game actions. You're going to find yourself doing all the things you'd like to do at the right time, and that's when you'll start to see, oh, wow, I've really gotten better over time because I've just been able to just have fun with it. Don't create this unrealistic expectation about yourself that you have to do it, because then it becomes rigid. It becomes this expectation in where now it's forced upon you, and if you feel like you're not getting better, then you become discouraged. You no longer want to be involved. You no longer want to take a part in it. Just have fun. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years. And I can definitely tell you, there are times that I still make really, really wild mistakes. And I'll be like, dang, I didn't play that. However, when I also think about my track record and how long I've been playing, I go like, I've still gotten better over time. I'll get better next time. Yeah. I'm not worried. And I just keep moving. That's it. Why? Because I had fun. That's all I did. I had fun, and it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is just perspective. Like, and I say this for a lot of us too, especially a lot of us really like grinders necessarily. It's like, it's a game, guys.
Yeah.
The point is to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly, right? So it's however fast you want to be. If you want to be the best in the world, then that you might start hitting some friction, but at that point, it's just hours in. And that's great because you have that motivation. And then, especially, I think this can be informed by the context of like the people that you play with. You know what I mean? Just something to remind yourself too is like a lot of the players that know how to play the game or shortcut or like seem to know exactly what they're doing. A lot of this game is just rote memorization and hours in. You can get there eventually, and not to beat yourself up too much, especially when you can only play like, let's say 2 to 3 games a week or something like that. Some of us are on here, like, if you look at the crit league, some people are playing like 4 to 5 games a day on a regular basis. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's, like, do not, like, comparison, thief of joy, all that stuff is all about perspective in that way. And the answer is really going back to the very beginning thing, even just for yourself when you're getting into Magic and once you're in Magic, being clear with, okay, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to have fun? Great. Lean towards that. If I'm trying to get better, great. Lean towards that. And if it's a mix of the two, then great. There's a balance there. But like, yeah, perspective in all things, I think.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Biggest thing I wanted to contribute to this is for me and in most of my life, but especially in Magic, it's much more of a process first, results second kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. And like, that's, journey before destination is like, that's my guiding light, for this game a lot of the time. And having, your process in mind first, which is, am I having fun? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I trying new things? Am I exposing myself to different strategies, different decks? Am I learning? And having goals or milestones be secondary to that is so, so important. And it's been a huge help in like letting me grow and get better at this game and kind of saying like, oh, top 16 a tournament. Like that's a great goal and a great milestone. But my enjoyment of this experience doesn't hinge on that. It's just like, I'm so glad I hit that. And now I can sort of keep going, keep moving. Having that mindset's been
also
really useful.
Learning to be at least okay with, if not like losing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be losing, especially in Commander, you're going to be losing 75% of the time. So if you're playing a game and you're 75% of the time, you're like, that's not going to be a good time for you. No. Learn to be okay with it at the very least.
And to add to the concept of perspective that people don't understand, because it's a in Commander, in the way that we normally play, right? Because there's obviously different versions. There's 60 card and there's 60 card, which is 1v1, and then it's Commander, which is a singleton with 4 people playing. Losing 75% of the time is average. That's not terrible. Most people would think, oh, I'm losing 75% of my games. Yeah, it just means that you're average. That's all that is. So don't place a high expectation thinking that you have to win constantly. Like the people who win never learn anything. All they've done is just know that like, cool, I've won the game. However, sometimes being able to learn from your mistakes is important. And again, just having fun. I was able to go do this. I was able to do that. Having agency in the game is the part that just allows people to be able to take advantage and just be able to enjoy themselves tremendously. And again, just have fun. Just have fun.
Oh,
That's
and also
what that is.
Support each other to have fun in the sense that like, oh, if someone's excited that their deck is like done something weird or quirky, like be like, oh yeah, that is really cool. That's really interesting. You know what I mean? Like getting outside of yourself when you're in a pod like that, at least for the people, if you're trying to onboard stuff, maybe someone's never done a breach line in their life before and they like stumble through it and you're like bored out of your mind, but like hold space for them. You know what I mean? Like let them like, oh yeah, do the thing, play it out. No. Yeah.
Show me, yo. And afterwards, if they get it, go like, yo, bro, congrats, good stuff. Tell them like, hey, look, you stumbled, you a little shaky there, you're a little shaky, but you got there. Congratulations, dog. Congratulations.
That's what matters.
No, and that's giving that level of encouragement helps because again, the concept or at least the thing that we want to be able to do is that when you're bringing people into the community, you want to be, and that's been the goal. That's pretty much what the goal of this video is, to be able to bring people into Magic. Because at the end of the day, the game does not grow without people coming in. Allow that person for them to be able, give that person encouragement. Tell them go like, hey, look, you know what? Do this. You did this to figure out, here's how you can improve on it. And in case if they mess up, hey, look, here's where you had messed up, but you still did a good job, bro. You'll get them next time. That's the best thing to be able to do moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that dovetails into kind of what we're talking about right now, which is we want to take people from 0 to 20. This is like the first step of the process, and that's becoming a beginner in this game. You go from, I'm aware of this, I don't know what it is, to I am now a beginner. And we've all been there. And DJ, I like, your definition, which is a beginner is someone who has just started learning and who needs help and explicit guidelines to progress.
Yeah.
So I am jumping in, I'm going in what feels like the deep end. There's so much information to consume. And what you really need to know as a beginner is you don't have to know it all. There's a lot of stuff in Magic, overall, I keep saying CEDH. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in Magic that you're not going to get right away. And so being comfortable as a beginner and being understanding of where you need to go and some next steps is really what we want to focus on for the rest of this episode. So The next portion of this is talking about Magic in addition to like what we said earlier about like what's our conception of it. But I think that, concisely, if we were talking about Magic, it's a resource game, a timing game, and a decision game. So we have these sort of micro games built into the macro, and getting good at these micro decisions and strategies is what's going to help us sort of launch into getting better at the game as a whole. So when I say that, resource game, timing game, decision game, how does that resonate with you guys? Do you think that there's, something that we can say that's going to help people learn how to get better at those concepts, or even to visualize and conceptualize what we're even talking about when we say those things?
So part of why I brought Uno up as an example, right? So I know a lot of people, when they think of Uno, most people think of Uno as you just play a card and then that's it. No. The concept is that you obviously want to have the last card available to you, and that way you're able to say Uno out and to win. Instead, because of that, now you need to go think of your resources. When you think of your resources, cool, you need to think about the cards you have available to you. The timing about, for example, if you notice somebody ahead of you, for example, somebody before you obviously drew 8 cards, right? And obviously that person has a lot of cards. So now you have to go think about when you're going to go put, in case that person tries to hit you with a draw 4, that you use your draw 4. Or being able to think about, okay, cool, now everyone is trying to use their cards to get to me. Now I got to be able to hold on to maybe this skip to skip the next person. Like, there's so much that goes into it that on a surface level, people aren't thinking about it. However, on below that surface, they're actually really thinking about that. So they are thinking about the resources that they have available to them, the timing of when they're going to use certain cards, and the decisions that they're going to do to be able to help win. At least the best Uno players I know, that's what they do. Like, that's like
top tier, yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to admit,
invitational level Uno.
Yeah,
would you say numero uno?
when I play Uno, I play against some cutthroat people, and those guys and gals, they know. So it's all about that. So I think being able to kind of incorporate, or at least being able to use that as a lifting point or at least a base point for people to understand, and that way they would know that kind of same thing is applied in Magic it's pretty dope. So, but that's how I think about it when I think that it's a resource game, a timing game, and a decision game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so crazy to think of it that broken down, because it's one of those things where like you get so used to computing all of those things all at once that it's a great stepping stone for like, hey, maybe this game you're just looking to see if you can make sure you tap your mana efficiently every single time. These little stepping stones, like, oh, okay, how does this build onto this, and that'll expand outward even more to the better of the understanding of the rest of it. Yeah, I think these are just great little like step 1, step 2, step 3, and like just different areas where you can be like, oh, there are entire decks that are just like, I don't really care about winning. I'm just going to do a thing and see if I can get the thing to be done, And it doesn't, like, the overall goal can be whatever. And, like, if you can get the thing done, then that's great. So I think that's, like, again, going back to this setting goals for yourself and setting, like, checkpoints for yourself is a really big part of what you're saying right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big agree. Yeah, I think, it's before we're kind of jumping into the fundamentals, it's like we're trying to understand the game, not just the rules, And so to approach it on a more philosophical level or like a conceptual level first makes it so that we can frame our understanding of the rules in this macro of the game overall. So if I am approaching Magic and I'm saying, from the standpoint of Commander, I want to think that I'm trying to play a game with 3 other people. It's a free-for-all game, and I am approaching it in the mindset of I'm going to do my best to be a competitor against these people and a teammate simultaneously. And that concept, too, is really hard to understand when you just get into the game. You're like, why would I work with anyone? What's the point of trying to, like, team up against someone who's winning? And that's what we're trying to say. Is like, this is going to be a complex process, but thinking about it from a philosophical or fundamental point of view is going to help you later down the line once we start getting into the rules, which I think we're ready to kind of jump into right now.
Yeah.
Which is, where do we start with Magic? I think we start with the mana and the 5 colors of mana and, exactly what you have on your shirt, DJ.
Yes.
Which is why are these colors so important? Why are they fundamental to this game? Why don't we go over that and kind of chat about that? What are the colors and what do they want to do? What's their identity?
Well, for starters, there's obviously 5 colors of Magic. And with the 5 colors of Magic, one of the most important things to be able to keep in mind is that each one has a particular identity and strategy that's aligned with that color. So when you think of, for example, my favorite color, I'm going to leave for, I'll do 3, and afterwards I'll leave the other 2 for, because I know that's his favorite color combination. So
yeah.
Let's act 2 1. Let's act 2 1 2. Let's act 2 1 2.
No, you guys go.
So for green pretty much wants to use its resources to build up in a way to land something big. So to the analogy that I mentioned about the different weapons, right? Green is like trying to work up to the bazooka. But in order for you to work up to a bazooka, if you've ever had to go work on an RPG, you got to get the RPG. You got to go load the RPG. You got to prime the RPG. Then finally you can shoot the RPG. In the time that you've done that, somebody could have possibly punched you, or somebody could possibly would have knifed you, and this, that, and the third. And those, of course, all of them have, all of those different types of things are, other colors are aligned in Magic. However, in green, that's what that's trying to do. The color black, obviously, that's the equivalent of like a knife. Where black, what it's trying to do is that it drains resources from one thing to do another thing. So like it'd be equivalent of like if you're using a knife, you're doing small cuts, but those cuts are bleeding you out. Not to be as graphic as in that sense, but it's the only it's the only thing that I can think of in that sense.
Yeah.
So like it does these small little cuts to drain a person, all while trying to be able to do that. And I'm gonna stop at those 2 colors, and I'll let the other guys do the other. I'll let Wayne do 2, and then Zach can go do the other one. The other 2.
I wonder which one I will be talking about.
I love the gun analogies, primarily also just to kind of show that like the Magic colors are kind of like nerd horoscopes, almost like personality types, like Myers-Briggs and stuff like that. There's these combinations, and then there's the individual colors, and then there's also the combinations. So like when someone says, "Oh, you're a red-blue player," like that brings up a lot of connotations, and we'll get even more complicated. At base level, if we're going with the guns analogy, I like to think of red as like maybe somewhere like at SMG, you're rushing in quick, you're trying to get as much done, and you're trying to get as much maximum damage as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of pray and spray and numbers over precision.
Yo,
right?
That is so correct.
Yeah. We're goblins, and we're sharpshooters and like that sort of stuff. There's literally, anyways. So that's like red in the FPS gun analogy. White, I like to think of it, there's almost 2 things where I stare at it. Like I'm staring at it, and I feel like it's like almost like traditional sword and board, where you've got a big shield, and I'm running with a sword, and we're gonna fight, but forcing other people to play on that martial level. It's a lot of like, hey, fairness, balance, and then I'm just going to outskill you. Either that, or it's a giant sniper rifle, and I'm gonna sit behind this wall and like snipe you out real quick. Unironically, those are my 2 favorite guns to play in FPS. So like, it kind of, maybe I'm a little biased on that sort of thing, but like, yeah, it's moreover, and especially if you're not like connecting with the gun analogies necessarily, there's like 1,000 different ways you can spin these colors that also work for all these other things, and that's kind of like what makes the colors really, really good for, especially if you're onboarding people, if you know what they're like personally like, and what games, or like what games they like to play, or what characters they like to play in different games and stuff like that. That's kind of like this. Do they like playing Hulk? Great. Let's get you a Gruul deck. Now you even have Marvel, like, they're color coding it for you, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's just something to think about. We use your color knowledge to help a little bit. Zach is going to
do the
last
one, yeah.
Well, I definitely do pretty much, but for the most part, I do play blue. So, it's probably a good thing for me to chat about. Blue, gosh, you guys have taken a lot of the good weapons.
It's fist and pairs.
Yeah, you think so?
Are you kidding me? It's fist and pairs, 110%.
Yeah, actually, I see that.
It's like I want to operate from the bird's eye view, kind of, or I want to be able to impact the game directly. Like when you think about Magic and slinging spells, blue is like a fundamental, because you get to do it on everyone's turn. You get to interact with people. You kind of get to be deciding of like, I am the last point of say, like, is this going to resolve, yes or no? And then blue also has, you know, the power of accumulating a lot of resources in a different way than green does. Like, if green is like this big, you know, trying to build up mana wise, like brute force, blue is kind of like, I'm going to accumulate as much knowledge as possible. And you do that in the way of like drawing cards. And then you use that knowledge, quote unquote, to outskill your opponents, to say this permission based thing is going to work, that's not. And so blue is like the end all be all, yes, no, on whether or not we're going to keep playing the game and how we're going to play that game. So that's kind of my interpretation of blue. Let me know if you guys have any input on that, though.
It's more, like, to add to that, it's more of like the person that does, like, I know people, when we say it like through that lens, it makes it seem like blue's the most powerful. They're all balanced because they all have their own, their strengths and weaknesses. Blue plays more on, like, when I said, like, for the fist, it's more of, like, it parries. Like, if you're trying to do something, it parried you. It's you try to, you want to use this rocket launcher? Nope, we're going to move it to the side. You want to use this knife? Nope, you're going to move it to the side. And, like, it's in terms of the permission, it's denying your opponent to doing something. And when you say more about the knowledge, it's like if you equivalent a monk, which, you know, blue really does have a lot of, that they are able to constantly parry until finally an opening comes up and they're able to go and do the final blow. So that's where like blue really shines in that light. While green is more of like being able to, again, like the RPG thing, or being able to kind of like have these, like we're saying, pumping up to go get muscles to finally do like this one huge final blow. It works through that lens. So that's why like each color has their own strategies to their downfall, because when you think about the application of how you're able to do what it's doing, it requires, like, obviously, if you throw enough RPGs at somebody who's parrying, it's going to land, right? Like, that's insane. Same way where it's like if you're throwing enough knives at somebody who's parrying, a knife is going to land. Right, so or if you aim and spray, like aim and spray, eventually one of those bullets are gonna land. So that's where it all of those things, the analogies we're using, all of them are depending on like how effectively you use that weapon, and when you mix and match, that's where it kind of goes a bit more complex. But from an overall standpoint, that's what each color does. So. Yeah,
and I love it. The big rule of Magic that I always say, and especially for when you're telling new people, is I'm sure everybody is like in the comments like, but wait, hold on, there's this red card that's like Mana Geyser, and that's kind of red. It's like, okay, listen, there's an exception to every rule in Magic. There's almost literally an exception to every rule in Magic. So like, especially when you're first getting into it, these are big generalities. Every color is moved into being able to do a lot of different things, but in general, this is what they do. And just understand that through your Magic career, you will run into several points where you're like, oh wait, I didn't know that they could do that, and like, or that's like possible, and that's just how the game works. Like, there's an exception to every rule of Magic, and just that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have big overview of the colors, you know, and again, like Wayne said, everyone has their own interpretations of this. We're definitely not like the end-all be-all of what these colors are. This is just our perspective and how we think about the game. So if you have a different perspective, feel free to leave a comment and be like, well, this is actually how blue is, and blue is a fucking, you know, katana and not hand-to-hand. But anyway.
Or also, if you have other analogies that you want to be like, hey, these are kind of like the colors map onto these things, that's actually super helpful.
Yes, it is. And for anyone who's watching that, please take the opportunity. Read the comments. If people are giving like good analogies that you could see, that you could relate to, because if you may not relate to what we're saying, but relate to theirs, that's a good point of reference as well too. Because again, the goal of this video is to provide ways to onboard somebody to help learn and understand the game and gain a grasp of what the game entails. So by all means, go nuts in the comments, please. Don't go too wild though. Please be within reason. Don't say something that's like so foreign or whatever that may not make sense to somebody. But at least like keep it simple. That's the same thing we just ask. Please. That's all we ask. That's all we ask.
Those conversations are for the Discords.
Yes.
So. After colors, we want to kind of talk about maybe the anatomy of a Magic card. Real quick, I want to shout out our sponsor for today's video, Doot Loot. Doot Loot is a CEDH vendor specializing in non-English foils, signed and altered cards, reserved list, judge promos, and secret layers to set your deck apart from the rest. He carries cards for every budget, even starting as low as $5. The Doot Loot Discord is a simple, no-nonsense feed of cards updated weekly. He even does monthly giveaways and free tokens with every order. In addition, we do giveaways from Doot on our channel once a month, so make sure to catch those videos where we're giving away his exciting foreign cards. Keep up to date with new arrivals on Instagram at DootLootIG and join over 5,000 other members at discord.gg/DootLoot. This is the best place for CEDH bling, and it's the place where you want to buy your foreign cards.
Without further ado, keep enjoying the video.
We play this game with cards, right? Each card is a unique piece of cardboard. It does a unique thing. Perfect. Thank you, Wayne. And these cards are typal. And that means like we can use them in different ways, in different scenarios, and they each have rules that apply to them. What I mean by that is some cards you can use at any point in the game. You can use it on your turn, you can use it on someone else's turn, and that gives you agency to interact with the game in a really unique way. Yeah, keep going, Wayne. Get the whole Zerna deck out here. And so what I want to do now, I think, is let's talk about each card type and what its primary purpose is, how we can interpret it, high level point of view, what are the different card types, and what do they do in the game.
This can also just be like, I think it's helpful for new players where it's like, even before we get into like the subtypes, like the big overall type.
Yes, the big
permanent, temporary ones, lands. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even just like permanent, temporary, the concept of like something being on the field and not being on the field, and then again, exceptions to each is like hilarious, right? So getting even that broad.
So it's just to add on to what Wayne's saying and to give real context. There are cards that once you've used them, they're a one-time use. There are other things that stay on board, and of course, there's all the resource cards. So when you think of, for example, the cards, the ones that I know Zach was saying about that you could use anytime, that's an instant. And that's a card that you could use at any time during the game, no matter what. Anytime during the game, as long as you have the resources available to pay for it, which then goes to the next card, resources. Each color has specific resource identity tied to it. That way it gives a distinguished means for you to say, okay, cool, this resource can only be used for this particular thing. So, and with every color, they have their own. For the resources, I know we didn't get a chance to say for the colors of mana, it's for black, it's a swamp. For green, it's a forest. For white, it's a plains. For blue, it's an island. And for red, it's a mountain, right? As long as you have the resources that are tied to the identity of that card, then for example, goblins are more aligned with red. Elves are more aligned with green. Zombies are aligned with black. Soldiers are aligned with white. And interestingly enough, for blue, it would be birds. Is weird enough. Like birds are actually aligned with blue. So
it's because blue's for the birds, man.
Yeah. So when you think about the creatures are permanents. They pretty much, once you've paid resources, you could then summon them, as I hate to put it through that lens, but it's the only way to really put it. You would summon them onto the board and you're able to then use them. Same thing, you're able to then summon enchantments. They're not creatures, but they do stay on the board and they have an effect that allows you to be able to do something. And then you have sorcery cards, which are not like instants. They very much are placed in the same place once you've used them because they're a one-time use. However, they can use them during your turn to do something extra over it, to put a little sprinkle razzle dazzle. So that's pretty much to put it in that sense. There are other particular subtypes too, but keeping it simple, it is creatures, resource lands, which are lands, instants, sorceries, and enchantments. Those are like the main things you want to. And artifacts. Those are.
Can't forget about artifacts.
Artifacts are normally what they call colorless. They don't have a color. However, the best thing about artifacts is that you could use any resource color to pay for them. So that's important to keep in mind. But it's
for the lore nerds out there. the concept within the lands and everything is the original concept of playing Magic, and it's kind of been looser and looser, is that you are a planeswalker or a mage and you're drawing magic and mana from the lands and you're using it to like mold and shape and do effects and create and like pull people from different existences into the battlefield to do your bidding, essentially.
Yes.
If that helps.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's something that people forget about a lot. But like, that makes me like very
never
happy
thought about that before.
Yes.
See, you're right.
But that's pretty much that part. And of course, being able to acknowledge that those are like the different things, and those cards, of course, all of them have where the instants and sorceries, they go to their one-time use. So it's kind of like they're disposable. They go straight into your graveyard. And the resource lands obviously stay. And the same thing with the creatures, and same thing with enchantments and artifacts. Those are permanent; they stay on the board. So if you were to look at it through the lens, instant sorceries are temporary, lands are forever, creatures, enchantments, and artifacts are there, but they can be removed.
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, like that's a lot of information.
It is.
When you're first starting to play the game, that's a lot of information, and a lot of us are so kind of inundated within this game that it's like, oh yeah, card types, sure, and like, but like no, it gets really, really complicated, and you already shortcut all the ideas and all the concepts in your head so that it doesn't seem like that much to grok, but that's just because of hours in, right? For someone who's just starting, even like sometimes when I get people into Magic and they're like really interested in a certain thing, what I'll do is I'll just sit down and have them like, and we'll get into this a little bit later too of actionability, but like sometimes just going through and looking at the pretty pictures and reading the cards and identifying, oh, okay, creature. Oh, okay, land. You know, like that can be a stepping stone to get people like familiar with the types, and also just a little bit of an onboarding, especially before you start throwing them into a game and they're having other people throw different versions of those things at them. Get them familiar with their cards first is super important, I think.
Yes. Just sitting down and reading the card, like how Wayne said, is important. Just like this, taking a look at this card, the glare, looking at it and just reading it, and just that's it. Don't worry about any of the text that goes on in the middle. Just worry about the casting costs and just its type. That's it. And then just read it, place it, and then that's it. That's all you need to be able to do. That's all you need to be able to do.
So what we're talking about, DJ, is that we want to be able to read a Magic card. Just like we want to read a book, like there's a way to understand and interpret cards. And what we want to look at when we look at Magic cards are a few things. The first is its mana cost. So that's usually going to be in the top right of a card. Yes. And you're going to see symbols, right? You're going to see the different colors of magic. Yeah, see Wayne has a Ragavan right here. In the top right, we can see that there is a mountain. So the cost to cast the spell is a red. For this one, we can see that there's 3 colorless and a white, right? So that's 3 generic mana and 1 white mana.
So
one plains.
And to give context, generic mana can mean mana of any kind. However, it's kind of like the way you look at a recipe, right? You could use anything, but there's one ingredient you need specifically to make it work. That's the best way I always like to go put it with players. So if you're ever going to go cast something that has a multiple casting cost, meaning like, for example, a good example would be this, right? You has 4 and 2 blue. So it means you can quite literally have 4 of anything else, but you require 2 blue. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to be able to do. And that helps you to read the casting cost and goes from there.
Yeah. No, perfect. I like it. Yeah, exactly what DJ's saying. Like, there are some things, the generic quote-unquote mana, you could say, for example, if I'm playing a green and a blue deck, and I have something that says 4 colorless and then 2 blue, I could use any combination of blue and green mana or colorless mana to pay for that 4 generic. And then the 2 blue has to be blue mana, obviously. Like, that's a requirement for that card.
Yeah.
The next thing, after we look at casting costs in the top right, is beautiful art. And that's something that, you know, is super important in the game. It's really aesthetic. Like, the art is not technical part of the game, but it's such an important part of the game. Like, if there was no art on these cards, it would be so much harder to play. It might not even be worth it to play. So, shout out to the artists for what they do. But yeah, the art of the card. And then below that, we have the type of the card. So there's going to be a little box. Feel free to hold up a card right there. So yeah, here we can see legendary creature. So we know exactly what that is. And then it's a monkey pirate, right?
Yeah, legendary creature, monkey pirate.
Yes.
Monkey pirate.
Monkey
right?
pirate.
So we get to see what kind of thing it is. So like we were talking about before, it's out of all these different types of things, it is a creature, right? So that means it's a permanent. It's going to be on the battlefield. You're summoning this creature. It's going to be attacking for you. And the type of creature that it is. So in Magic, there's all these different types of creatures and subtypes of creatures. We're not going to get into that right now, but that's what it is. It's a monkey pirate.
Yeah.
And then below that, we can see the rules text on this.
I was trying to find one with less text, but yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Mostly ignore I don't ignore these necessarily, but this is where it gets complicated.
Yeah, so all this rules text is something that you'll become more and more comfortable with as you go. But right now, we're just dissecting the anatomy of a card. So below the type is the rules text. We'll get into that later. And then for creatures, below that is the power and the toughness. A whole other can of worms to get into. And that gets into like combat and what that means and how attacking works and how blocking works. But that's just understanding a card. We want to look at it top to bottom usually is going to help us understand how to use it and how to play with it in the game.
A bunch of the CEDH players just went, oh yeah, that's right, power toughness.
Wait, I can attack?
That's an inside joke for people. Trust me. Well, later on we'll explain why. We'll explain why.
Yeah. Anything we want to add about like reading a card or the anatomy of a Magic card?
Yeah, I think really just when you're first getting into it, giving yourself the time and the grace to like do it outside of prying eyes. Because when you're in the middle of a game, you can feel really pressured to be like, oh, people are waiting for me to do it, especially when people are really impatient, and not everybody is like super patient. Like just, doing a little bit of like familiarizing yourself with the cards so that way you don't have to worry about like you know what you're coming to the table with versus what other people are coming to the table with, because that's a whole nother can of worms.
Absolutely.
The grace part is really important. And the reason why the grace part is really important is because you want to be able to just sit down and just read the card. Don't be afraid to go over it over and over and over and over again. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to be able to play at your pace and to be able to learn at your pace. So if you're learning at your pace and digesting the information in that way, that's literally all that matters.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Secondly, I want to shout out Manavault Proxies. They're a US-based proxy company, and they help make this game more affordable so that you can play based on your skill level and not just the size of your wallet. I would not be playing this game if it weren't for proxies, so I love what Manavault is doing. They're even offering 5% off if you use the code SNACK at checkout. Without further ado, keep enjoying the video.
So, we talked about this a little bit before, but why don't we talk about the zones on a battlefield and off the battlefield? Where do cards go? What's sort of the concept of like, I have a hand of cards and I play the cards and then they go somewhere? Like, I don't really understand. So like, if I'm just getting into Magic, how do you explain the kind of structure of a zone? What is a zone and what are the zones?
So the best way I always like to go put it is if you were sorting coins, right? And you want to sort coins in a place where you go like, okay, this dime goes here, this nickel goes here, this penny goes here. It's the best way to really kind of describe it through that lens. So number one, we start off, it's your library. Your library is your deck. It is your deck of cards, the number of cards, whether if you're playing 60 card or 100 card. Let's just say we're talking about through the lens of Commander, of course, that you have your deck. Your deck has all the cards you need that you're planning on to go use the game. So whenever a card refers to your library, it says to search your library or to place a card from your library to another area, that's what it's referring to. Your deck is your library, pure, plain, and simple. That's it. The next thing is your hand. When you go to, just like how in Uno, for example, right? We have a deck of cards. You draw your hand. So what you'll do is that in Uno, I believe, you start out with 5 cards. In Magic, you start with 7. So that's why you would draw 7 cards from your library, and you would start it off and go from there. And from that, I'll let Wayne go ahead and go to the next part after having about the library in the hand. So after that, you have your hand. Where else is another zone?
The other main zones are going to be the battlefield. So you have basically your playmat just right at the very beginning. There's a whole lot of conversation about where goes what. Honestly, do whatever makes the most sense to you. And there might be some people that correct you, like, no, these go here, these go here. Mm-hmm. There's a certain amount of decorum, but especially when you're first starting off, do what makes sense to you. Just a general rule of thumb is you want to keep things grouped in like with like. So mana down at the bottom with your lands, other stuff that makes mana next close to it, and then you have your creatures in front. But decks can all perform very, very differently. So whatever helps your brain grok and comprehend what's going on, as long as it's legible to everybody else to a certain extent, then that's totally fine. And then there's also the graveyard, which is where things go to die. No, things go when they are either killed or spent, or like the instances or sorceries go into the graveyard, and you can use that as a resource at some point too, but we'll get into that later. And then if you're playing Commander, there's a command zone. Don't forget, you'll have an extra little buddy with you there that you can grab at any point. And then we can start getting into Exile, but I think that's like a couple steps further down. But those are just the very basics. And again, as you're playing, understand there's exceptions to all of these rules, but this is just a good general like starting point.
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly put. Yeah, and then I think we'll save, like you said, Exile is like the very, very dead zone. You know, if the graveyard is where creatures go to die, Exile is like they're never coming back.
And then there's Superman that gets pulled back anyways, so it's like it's all exceptions to every rule.
Yeah,
exceptions to every rule.
I like to think of Exile as space. You just throw it out, and then you can't touch it or reach it. It's out in space. That's all you need to worry about it through that lens. But
absolutely.
Until I build a spaceship. Anyways.
Until you build a spaceship, yeah. Okay, well, I think here we want to talk about how a game actually works. The fundamentals of a couple things. The first is casting a spell. How do we do that? What does that mean? How do I literally play the game of Magic?
Okay, so as going back, of course, so the whole concept, of course, of the video is to build a foundation step by step by step. So earlier I had mentioned that in Magic, it's kind of like having a recipe, right? So when you cast a spell, and as Wayne had pointed out, the game is drawing resources or energy from the earth or from the land. So if you are playing let's just say you're playing green, because green is my favorite color. So what you would do is you would imagine if you have something that says it requires 2 resources to play. So what you would do to signify that those resources in use is that you turn them sideways, just like this. So if you have 2 resources that are just like, so you would turn them sideways, just like that, to signify that they're in use. And you would then be able to say, I am then using these 2 resources to pay for that. So that's how the way you'd be able to, quote unquote, cast a spell. Resources in use, you're paying equal to the number of how much it requires. And of course, making sure, just like how I mentioned with the recipe, that you have the requirement that one particular ingredient required in order for you to then make it work and to be able to cast it.
Another note I might make here is like, think about like, I want to go buy a coffee, right? To buy a coffee, I need to take money out of my wallet and give it to someone else, and they will give me a coffee, you know? Same thing with casting a spell. If my spell is going to be cast, I need to take the money out of my wallet, which is tapping my mana. So use the mana, get the money out of the wallet, give the money to somebody else. Now I'm paying for this for this spell, and then they are giving me the coffee. Now the spell has been cast. So I've done all the requirements. The spell gets cast. It goes on the stack. We're not going to talk about the stack because that's incredibly complex.
Yeah.
But another time we'll get there. So yeah, that's how I think about it too. So we talked about mana. We talked about tapping. Again, we're pulling resources from the land. We're using those to cast spells. The next thing I think we want to go into is, what does the structure of a turn look like? So how do we begin our turn? How do we go through our turn? What are the phases of the turn? And then how do we pass the turn to the next person?
Okay, so the best way I always like to go put it is you start off with the resources available to you that you had used before. They are now made available to you again. So they untap. They're now made available. Upkeep is now you're primed and ready. You're up. And then you draw a card from your library, your deck of cards. Your main phase allows you to be able to then take advantage of using those resources and tapping them again. And if you got a brand new shiny card, you can then use it during then. That's the best way I always like to go put it in terms of keeping it as simple as possible. Upkeep, untap, the resources are now made available. Upkeep, you're brighten up early, waking up. Draw, you get yourself your new card, and the main phase is when you're able to then use those resources to be able to pay for something and do from there. So that's simple. I'll let in terms of going afterwards.
My favorite stuff. The best step. The best step ever. Yeah, so that's a huge mantra. Untap, upkeep, draw. Everybody will get very used to saying that, and that's just like a good way to hammer it into your head. After main phase 1, you have the combat step that is extremely complicated, and on one of the later videos, I will happily break down every single little bit about the combat step. But go figure, the red player likes the combat step. That's a fun one. And then after that, you get a second main phase, which is essentially the first main phase, but again, reasons for that. We won't get into that right now. And then there's end step. End step is like nice and good, and you get to basically pass turn and clean up and just make sure your board is in order. And there's a lot of it might seem like very like strange and nitpicky, but the game is a wonderful little skeleton for a lot of these things to all matter in different ways. Yeah. And most of the time it is not going to matter super important until it does. And that's another thing about Magic, is like things don't usually matter until it does, and then once they become relevant, then you start scrutinizing them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So just to reiterate, we have our untap, our upkeep, our draw. Then we go to our main phase, then we go to our combat phase, then we go to our second main phase, and then we go to our end step. Yep. Each of these has different functions. Another note is in Magic, your maximum hand size is 7. So if at some point you get more than 7 cards in hand, at the end of your turn, you're going to discard some of those cards, and those are going to go to the graveyard.
Yep.
So that's the purpose kind of the end step, is to kind of clean up everything, get you back to parity with the rules of the game.
Yes.
Okay, so this kind of goes over the big rules, and then now we're going to kind of wrap this episode, talk about where you can go if you're just learning this game, where you can point people if they're just learning this game and you're trying to, watch this episode to help them learn, and then what we're going to be talking about next time. So to wrap up, we really went over the basic concepts of Magic. We got into the philosophy of it, why people want to play it, and the really, really beginner starting rules. So we're trying to say, you're interested in this, let's help you go from 0 to 10. Let's help you become a beginner and get some of the resources to start you on this path and on this journey. Is there anything else you guys want to add to this wrap up that we're doing to kind of say, if you took away one thing from this video, this is what I want to tell you?
Watch something like, there's a channel called Game Nights or the Command Zone. Just type in the Command Zone, either one of them. And just watch a lot of games. Take the opportunity to just watch. They will break things down step by step. And you'll see where they'll say, oh, they're tapping this to go pay for that. And then it goes there. And once you kind of get the opportunity to see things based on like the actions and the animations and stuff like that, it'll start to make more sense. Because that's why I usually tell for a lot of people for them to be able to do. Watch games. Watch how other people play. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a reason why where it's like, if there's a question, go to Google. Type it in, and it'll be able to give you an answer. Because trust me, Google and AI go hand in hand. And they'll be able to give you all the type of answers and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to just watch gameplay. And if you have a question, and go to Google, type in your question, and an answer will come up to explain what that is. Or there'll be a video tied to it giving an answer for it. So just don't be afraid to be able to use that.
Yeah, and if you can't find that, if you join a Discord, Magic nerds are, if nothing else, willing to talk about Magic. You will guarantee you will find someone who will explain whatever it is. Whether or not they'll do it great or whether or not they'll do it well is a whole separate thing. But you will, this entire podcast is a conceit of Magic people just like talking about Magic. So you cannot get them to shut up about it.
Yes. Yes.
Don't worry about that.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing for me, is especially starting out and just in everything, I love life and I love Magic for this specific reason, is because they kind of go hand in hand, is knowing yourself, figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and knowing your learning style. If you are a person that likes video games, just maybe just picking up Magic Arena is a good place to start. They have a tutorial on there. That's just fine. If you're a social person and you like having somebody who can walk you through it, have someone who wants to, and there is somebody who wants to, teach you how to play Magic the Gathering. Or if you're visual learning, exactly all the resources that DJ just said are fantastic for those reasons. But like, yeah, just really like, hey, if you're curious about it, what is drawing you to the game? And, chase that. They have full audiobooks on YouTube that you can listen to the lore, and it's great. So yeah, just all of those things, self-discovery, and I think that's really the cool part about this game overall, and a big reason why at least some of us played, like, at least the format that we do, is that this game is also a great place for self-expression, and figuring out who you are and how you like to play is like a really fun part of the game. That is also just a great thing to take into life. So
yes,
therapy.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, Magic is therapy. Yeah, sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. In the next episode, we're going to be going from beginner to novice. So we're going to be going over more advanced concepts. Between then and now, I just recommend doing what Wayne and DJ said. Go on YouTube, check it out. If there's any concepts that we talked about that you're like, I want to go deeper on that, there's probably a YouTube video for it. And it'll help you kind of bridge that gap and start to understand the game a little more. But until then, thank you guys so much for coming on and chatting. Thanks everyone for watching. Without further ado, go enjoy the rest of your day.
Go play some Magic. It'll be fun.
Go play some Magic. Yeah. You'll have a great time. All right. Bye for now.
Huge thanks to DJ Lynx and Wayne for joining us on today's episode. It was super fun to hear his perspective and to go into depth about what it really takes to get into Magic. Like I said, we'll be having multiple series episodes after this, going from beginner all the way to expert or advanced. So if you're into CEDH or you want to help someone get into this is a really good place to start. And we hope that this was useful for you and that it was interesting and informative. Make sure to follow DJ Lynx on Instagram, X, and also check out their Discord, which is New Jersey CEDH. If you're in that area, if you're on the East Coast, it's a great place. Amazing group of guys. They've been hosting a lot of events, and they're all about getting new people into the format. Now let's get into the giveaway. If you want to win this week's giveaway, just like this person did last week, all you have to do is be a subscriber of Byte-Size and comment what was your favorite part of the video. Was there anything we talked about that was more informative or less informative? Was there a way we could have handled it that may have been better? What are you kind of looking for in following episodes in this series? Let us know down below, and you'll be entered to win a token pack by Mox Altars. These are really fun tokens. We have trigger tokens as well as things like treasures and Ristic triggers, fish triggers, Lotho triggers. This is like the blue farm core of tokens, if I would say so myself. Mox Altars has some amazing art. You can reach out to them on Discord at Mox Altars or Pedro Banjo. And they have tons of tokens, they do altars, they even helped us with the art for this channel. So make sure to check them out if you're interested. Finally, reach out to me if you're interested in CEDH coaching. I won last year's Invitational and I'm currently ranked top 5 this year on the leaderboard. I'm really hoping to help people go from where they are to where they want to go, help them become the best CEDH players they can be, and really develop like an individual plan for you. So I want to know where you're at right now, where you want to go, and how I can help you bridge the gap. Reach out to me on Discord at snack5322, or reach out on Twitter, or leave a message on this YouTube video, whatever is easiest for you. Anyways, without a doubt, that's it for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week on Byte-Size MTG.